it kind of seems like some people don't understand how TikTok being banned would actually be a First Amendment problem. So here's an article from the ACLU. Effectively, having a TikTok ban would actually ban 170 million Americans who use the social media platform. That is an infringement on your First Amendment rights. Point blank. You using the app to express your ideas, to comment, to make content, a law saying that you can't do that explicitly is infringing on your First Amendment rights. It's not just about, oh, you can't have an app. The thing is, the government has to show that what they're saying is a huge national security risk, is a national security risk. They can't just say it, because then that means that anything could be arbitrarily said, hey, that's not good for you, without having to have any proof or any explanation. And instead of people fighting me on YouTube being like, well, it's just a stupid app, it's your fucking rights. You should give a fucking shit about your fucking rights. Because if you don't, who the fuck will? The government doesn't care. They can make arbitrary rules because evidently the majority of you will just be like, seems about legit. But is it legit? It's not legit if the government doesn't show you. This is the ACLU. They're standing for your rights. This is not like some fringe fucking like program that's like, oh, they just say some crazy ass things. It's about defending your rights. It's about defending things before the government encroaches more and more. Because you know what's the difference between today in books like Brand New Day and 1984? It's the fact that we can still do this. But when this gets removed and people don't care, we're getting closer and closer to that dystopian future every single fucking day. Just FYI. So as I said in the first video, the Supreme Court's ruling is incredibly disappointing because it just gives full deference to the legislative branch. Yes, that is usually the case for things that are of national security. But the thing is, they show how the issue is of national security. When they had internment camps, even that, as controversial as it was, there was explanations given about why it was actually a national security. This one has had no explanation about why it's a national security, other than we're using things on public record. And there's kind of like an inference that they may be looking at the documents that are confidential, but the Supreme Court document literally says we're not using anything that's of confidential nature. Everything that we're talking about and we're utilizing in our analysis is public record. So why can't they point publicly where the national security issue is? And if you actually even look at the statute, it's written so vague and so overbroad that it should be unconstitutional. Because when you have something that's limiting 170 million people's speech, they should fucking say what the fuck it's doing. Otherwise, it's unconstitutional. And there's many case laws that will tell you that it's unconstitutional because it has to be specific and it has to be narrowed and it has to be tailored for the fucking objective that they have. So when you don't give a shit or you're commenting me telling me like, oh, it's just a fucking app. No, it's not. It's more infringement on your rights. It's less work that they have to do. And why would we want the government to do less fucking work? Because they're already taking your taxes. They should at least show you how the fuck the taxes are being utilized and why they're being utilized. Otherwise, it's just going to the pockets of people who are just benefiting from your lack of like noticing. I got a lot of comments on YouTube that were stupid. Hopefully this answers some of you. And like I said, under the First Amendment, the government must meet the extraordinarily high bar to ban an entire communication platform. It has to show that the ban is the only way to prevent serious imminent harm to national security, and that the ban has limits no more than necessary to accomplish its purpose. And as the article says, as the ACLU has noted in its amicus in support of the TikTok, the government has not come close to meeting that standard. And guess what? They never came close to it. And yet no one has written anything about it other than ACLU. What does that tell you? That tells you that your mainstream media is bought. Everything. The fact that no one even batted an eye, not one mainstream article said, oh, well, you know what? Maybe this wasn't that great because it seems like we're actually losing a lot of rights. It means that the media is working with the government, the legislative branch, and the judicial branch. The judicial branch is supposed to be on its own level. That way it can actually verify whether or not acts from legislative and the president are actually fair or not. But when they're all working together, the whole system is fucking rigged. It does not benefit you. It benefits other people who have interest in this being banned. Well, who has interest in such things? Meta has interest in that. Donald Trump has interest in that. Lobbyists have interest in that. And the people who work evidently in our Congress have interest in that. Because why? Lobbyists pay them. So you tell me if this is just some stupid fucking app. Or maybe this is actually fucking something. Something that you should give a shit about. But you're so fucking tired and you're so burnt out. And like, let me just tell you, it's by design that you're so fucking tired that you don't want to care about this. And let me tell you, that makes sense. We're all fucking tired, and they keep us tired. So we don't notice when they're just stripping away our rights day by day, so that one day we get closer and closer to some Minority Report kind of world, because we're on the way there. And if you think I'm being over dramatic, then look it the fuck up. Tell me if you look all this shit up that you don't feel anything. And if you don't feel anything, all right, I hope that you actually have the better gut feeling, because from what I'm seeing, this is terrible. This is bad for us. And it's only going to get worse the less we all pay attention. I'm working on part 2 to the Justice Gorsuch video, and about how all this came together and how this has just been happening in front of our very eyes. So if you're mad already, follow for part 2 to the original video that I did about Justice Gorsuch. It's on my page. It's the video just before this. Let me know your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, and tell me, what do you think about all this?